The Dems pushing ahead with their crazy calls to abolish immigration and custom enforcement. House Democrats working on legislation that would shut down ICE and investigate whether the agency violated human rights laws. That's the Democratic Party for you these days, folks. Joining me now, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Great to have you with us, Tom.
Hey, Lou, how are you?
And I'm good. And looking at the Judicial Watch report on illegal immigrants, children, unaccompanied aliens, your report in 2014, that there were nearly 25,000 incidents involving unaccompanied aliens who were admitting to committing violent crimes, drug smuggling, human trafficking, and this under the Obama administration, and far, far more serious than anything that has happened with unaccompanied illegals under President Trump's administration.
Well, they're evidence of the sort of crisis that took place and encouraged in many ways by the Obama administration and allowing and encouraging and inducing these people to travel across the border. They didn't see much in the way of minors or children. If you look at the reports, they talk about being forced to kill people for the cartels, threats of rape, drug use going on in the facilities where these kids and adults were kept. Of course, then you had the government side of it where they were involved in abusing some of those who were overwhelming the system. Absolute disaster, and it shows you the challenge the Trump administration had in dealing with the crisis they inherited from the Obama administration, who got a free pass from the media on causing this crisis.
The Obama administration got a free pass from the media on every single issue. President Obama famously saying there were no scandals in his administration, and that must have been because he was reading only the New York Times and Washington Post, because the facts were quite different, fast and furious. IRS, you know the list as well as anyone.
Right.
It's bizarre, the claim that he made. And we haven't even mentioned Uranium One to bring it all up to date. The question here becomes, when we watch Lisa Page just simply defy a congressional subpoena and thumb her nose at the entire process, Congress right now has demonstrated it's incapable of carrying out an effective and conclusive investigation of wrongdoing, corruption in the Justice Department or the FBI. That seems like the only possible conclusion that we can reach.
Yeah, why, you know, at this point, you don't even need to show up at Congress, these hearings, and take the fifth. Just don't show up at all.
Right.
You might be found in contempt. The Justice Department has an awful record of enforcing contempt of Congress charges. They refuse to do it. This Justice Department refused to do it against Lois Lerner. They refused to do it against Eric Holder. Eric Holder was allowed back into the floor of the House, right, despite being found in contempt by that same body. And what Congress can do, and your listeners might be shocked to learn this, and they don't want you to know they can do this, is that they can enforce contempt on their own. And if the House found any of these individuals in contempt, they could order the Sergeant of Arms to arrest them, detain them, and put them in jail until the contempt was purged or other action was taken.
Well, that might
they don't have to outsource it to the Justice Department.
That would screw up his post-speakership lobbying access to tremendous sums of money. I mean, are you kidding me? What would he do with his political future? He doesn't want to in any way injure his prospects by simply enforcing law and doing the right thing.
Well, this is why, because we know the leadership of both parties don't want to do this at all. That's why the voters need to be educated about what is actually doable by Congress, and hold them to account when they don't do it.
When you say the voters got to be educated, but that's something I heard a lot under the Obama administration. I know you don't mean it that way. The fact is, the American people know right now they're getting screwed by their government. The Justice Department is telling the Congress of the United States to go to hell and getting away with it. And I think the people who need to be educated are the people sitting in office representing them in the House of Representatives and in the United States Senate. Those are the
believe me,
people
Paul,
who need the
look,
education.
the leadership, Lou, needs no education on this. They know exactly what their powers are under the Constitution.
Yes.
This is a historic power that the House and the Senate have to enforce the rule of law as they see it. And if you thwart Congress and obstruct it and are found in contempt, they can hold you in custody. They've done it to cabinet officials in the past. And it would change the calculation that executive branch officials make when they thwart Congress, or witnesses like Lisa Page and Peter Strzok make when they play games with congressional subpoenas. We've got to do something. I mean, Judicial Watch does what we can in the courts. Congress has got to stand up and support and restore its essential role in our republic.
I think, though, that there are two different issues here, at one time I was hopeful that they could be solved together. One is the corruption within the Department of Justice leadership and the FBI leadership, and the other is the incompetence and the innovation of congressional leadership, and I include in that the U.S. Senate. First, I think we have to clean up the corruption in the Justice Department and the FBI. And I'm not sure that Congress and the Senate have the power to do it. I think this president ultimately will have to take charge of those two the executive agency and department, in order to do it. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I don't think the Justice Department and the FBI are being asked to turn over documents that can incriminate themselves. And as agencies, they can't take the Fifth Amendment, but they can withhold documents. I mean, for instance, they're telling us they don't want to give us the Page Strzok materials until at least stonewalling, slow walking them for at least 2 years, they say they need in order to turn them over. Outrageous.
Absolutely, we're out of time. Thanks, Tom.